about that. I don't want to go off into la-la land and mysticism, but it is important to realize the sacredness of life and the responsibility that comes with taking a life. And I think that in general, we earn the right to participate in the life, death, decomposition, regeneration, life, death, decomposition, regeneration cycle as we honor the life in sacredness as it's lived. It's one of the beauties of pastured poultry. Remember, it's not pasteurized. Pastured poultry is one of the single biggest components of it is that we are trying to create a respectful, honoring life for the bird, which then makes the death a thing of sacrifice as opposed to a thing of sacrilege. That's what separates the act that we're going to do from a place that's without meaning to a thing that is with meaning. And we definitely believe that exposing young children to this is really good, to find out the chickens don't talk and the chickens don't understand. And so I'm going to talk you through the process as we go through. But even though I've killed hundreds of thousands of chickens in my life, I never approach this just nonchalantly. It's a serious thing, and the question is: Have I honored this being in life enough to deserve to be able to take the life in the end? That's the question, and so we pause to appreciate that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we want this to be as just grab me one there if I get over there too far. So these are Cornish cross. I don't know how old they are, but I expect they're 9 weeks, 8, little over 9 weeks. Yeah. With this kind of bird, a week makes a big difference. The difference in 8 and 9 weeks is the difference of like a pound because they're really great. Okay, this is a pretty big bird. Do you want it before I kill it? To get a weight before I kill it? Jim McLaughlin this equipment is from Cornerstone Farm Ventures, and so we're just I'm an imposter here. Jim's the one guy that has all the stuff, and he's complicating my situation by wanting a live weight. So what we do is we like to grab them kind of like this, and hold the wings. Okay, if the bird is crackling and carrying on and stuff, then you're doing something wrong. Notice this bird, I can kind of move it around, and putting your finger between the legs like this so that if they start clawing, they don't claw you, is a critical element. So they're kind of sitting in the palm of your hand, okay? But you notice, I can turn him around. He's perfectly comfortable, and I've got my hands on his wings, okay? So I'm going to stick him in head first, okay? All right, get your weight. Well, like I say, this is complicating my situation.
Oh, they get to find the chicken. That's funny.
Okay. All right, want to try again? All right.
He's like, forget it.
Yeah. All right. So we put them in, and what you're going to try to do is, right here's the wattle, okay? The wattle's right here. So we want to go as close to that as possible. In your own jugular, your jugular veins come up along your windpipe, and then they separate under your chin right here. One comes up under your ear here, one comes up under your ear here. Same way the chicken. So the closer we get to the head, the better chance we have of catching just the jugular and not hitting the windpipe. So we'll catch and you want a good stream of blood right there. That bird is literally flatlined in a tenth of a second. I mean, it's very, very quick, okay? And whatever convulsions now you see are simply contraction, muscle contraction, like that. The cone keeps the bird from, I'll take another one. The cone keeps the bird from bruising itself. Okay, and so the cone also acts as a temple grandin. Those of you who are familiar with temple grandin, it acts as a hug, a holder. Okay, so you notice there's no. Didn't get that one exactly right. They go flat line pretty quick. Okay, let's get another one. So we're gonna kill 3, and then we're gonna pick 3, and we're gonna do 3 more. Okay, so the point is to get up there as close to the head as possible. The other reason to get as close to the head as possible is that it means that if you get as close to the head as possible, it means when you pull the head off that you're going to get the the neck's going to separate at the vertebrae and not separate way down the neck. Those of you who are over there, remember that I said there are a lot of places in this process where you can lose an ounce of weight, okay? And that's one of them. If you cut the neck at the vertebrae at the next to the last vertebrae before the head, or one farther back, that's where the neck's going to separate when you pull the head off, and you're going to lose 1 or 2 vertebrae. That's a half an ounce, okay? So coming as close to the head as possible allows you to preserve that last thing. Okay. All right. We just got to give them a little bit. It takes about a minute and a half or 2 for them to finally finish all their contractions and get still. Okay, the scald water. The scald water. We want the scald water to be about 145. Do we have a preset? Okay. Want the scald water to be about 145, and we put some soap in it. There's some soap suds in here. The soap breaks the surface tension. If you remember your high school science class, you know how water beads up on a surface. Okay, so this water sits up on the table here, but when I touch it with the water that I just pulled out of that scald tank, okay, when I touch it with this, it's got a little bit of soap in it, and touch this water, it immediately spreads and breaks the surface tension. So what you're trying to do is get water to penetrate farther into the into the feather follicle. We're done. That one. I must not have gotten that. Bird. These are big birds. They're all right. Now the old hatchet system, that Grandma used out behind the back stoop. The problem with the hatchet system is that it puts the bird into shock. So by just cutting the jugular and leaving the windpipe, the autonomic nervous system continues to function, so the heart continues to pump, and actually pumps the blood out of the body. This is basically a halal, kosher type kill, okay? And we don't do electrocution. We don't do gassing. This is the ancient procedure, and it pumps the blood out of the body. If you go to the store and buy chicken, and you see all that black around the bones, that's clotted blood from lack of bleeding. I can tell you that if these are electrocuted first, you'll get about half the blood out of them that we're getting with this. This is called assanguination, if you want a nice big word, And that's what we're after. Okay, I think we're good to go here. Your stockbroker's calling. Okay. So then they go into the scalder here. Yep. And so the thing about these birds is if you're doing them at home and you don't have this nice equipment, which you should get this, there are thresholds for getting this equipment. In my opinion, once you pass, look, anybody can dress 20 or 30 birds in your backyard with a wood fire on a pot, or you can get the hand pick them and that sort of thing. But as soon as you pass about 100 birds a year, you're going to want to get some equipment. And the beautiful thing is when we started with this, 40 years ago, this kind of equipment was not available. I mean, this whole thing it did not exist. And so today we have small outfits like this that are selling a lot of this little equipment into the homestead. So it's a real different deal. A lot more available and a lot cheaper. This stuff is a third the price today that we paid 40 years ago for the same stuff, because now there's so many, competition, smaller scale, it's just more available. The thing about this scalder, you see them kind of, it's a rotary, it's called a rotary scalder. There are scalders that dip, by the legs, and they dip up and down, all right? The problem with that is that the breast is the most tender part of the bird. The legs are the least tender part. And so if it's just going up and down, legs to, with the head first, it means that what has been scalded the most is the breast, and what you need scalded the most is the feet. And so the rotary scalder allows 100% of the chicken to be scalded at the same amount all the time, okay? So water's about 145 degrees for, what do you have it set on, a minute and a half, 90 seconds, all right? And, I got it, okay, that's fine. So now we're gonna put them in the picker, okay? And we're gonna put some cold water on them. That acts as a blanch, like when you're making green beans, canning green beans and stuff. The blanch, the cold shock on the birds, actually that's what this shower nozzle's for. The cold water on the birds actually helps them to pick faster, to pick better, more cleanly. It also helps to wash them off as they're picking, so they actually pick better. Okay. Very good. Now Jim's just going to continue behind me, and I'm just going to take these three on forward in the process. But those of you who've never seen a picker work before, as we say, that's a right purty chicken. Okay. And those of you who've picked on the clothesline or in a wheelbarrow by hand, this is almost unspeakable. Okay. All right. So there's the bird. Jim, I can probably flip around so you don't have to jump up here and put those in the scalder when they're ready. See, I think I'll just leave these in here for now. Just not enough room to work. Okay. All right. So you want to make sure that any little pieces of manure are off your table and off of these. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the head off, and we're not going to cut it off. We're going to pull it off. That ensures that the neck breaks at a vertebrae. If we cut it off, then we're going to have little bone shards, and it's going to be hard to hit that vertebrae. So we just pull the head off, okay? Then we're going to cut the feet off. All the cuts are in valleys. You're in the spray zone. I don't know how I can do that. I'll just try to be really careful. Okay? It's a real live deal. Okay. So here's the thing. If you're cutting bone, you're not cutting the right place. Okay? So you're cutting in valleys. So if you notice this foot here has a valley, has a dip. So we're going to hit that valley right there and just cut straight through. All right. Again, go to the valley, straight through. Okay. If you're cutting bone, something's wrong. Now, are we saving the feet? We're saving the feet? No, I don't want the feet, but I figured. 5 years ago, we were composting our feet, and today, we need 4-legged chickens because we can't get enough feet. And we started selling them for 50 cents a foot. 50 cents a pound. And then we went to $1 a pound. We went to $1.50 a pound. Now we're at $2 a pound. This has added 50 cents a chicken from 5 years ago that we didn't have 5 years ago. So thank you, Weston A. Price Foundation, for creating that market. All right. So we got the feet, and we got the head off. All right. Now we're going to flip.
Must have fed him.
I've got my monitor over here now, so I'm going to watch. All right. So now we're going to flip the bird around, and I'm going to put my thumb up behind the tail like this, and we'll take the oil sac out. Okay. There's the oil sac. Take that out. And I'm going to flip the bird around. Where'd Jim go? My sidekick left me. I was just going to start those going. I think it's okay. I'll be. What did he hit? He hit a button here. There you go. Got it. Okay.
He's trapped outside.
All right. We have not rehearsed. We've not rehearsed this gig. Okay. So.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yay. All right. Okay.
They gotta run him a splash guard.
So, what a man. This is why he's in sales, man. This is why he's in sales. Sales is all about the need and the expectation. So if you have a need and you have a fantasy, if you can meet somebody's fantasy or need, you can sell. All right. Okay. So remember I said all valleys. Okay. So here in the crop. Now I assume these. What you want is these birds to come fasting. If they're full of feed, it makes a mess.
Huge mess.
So what we're looking for here is this valley right here in the breast. I'm going to just pinch that, and I'm just going to cut that skin, just barely enough to poke my finger in. And here's the crop right here. Okay, that's why it's important for these birds to come fasting. We like to take the feed away close to 24 hours. You know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 hours before slaughter. So if we're going to butcher them this morning, I want these birds to be out of feed by noon yesterday. Okay, so all that feed and grass and stuff comes out through their digestive system, and they're nice and clean on the inside. Jim, I'll take these out here. Man, these are big birds. Okay, so here's the crop. You can see it right here in the breast. Okay, and so now this thing is slick. I mean, it's like snot after birth. I mean, name your slick stuff. It's slick. Okay, I figured this crowd would enjoy the afterbirth. And so it's real hard to pinch it and get loose, all right? So what I do is I grab it and curl my thumb underneath, okay? and that gives me way more. I kind of catch it under the edge of my thumb there and curl around. Gives me a lot of surface, and then switch hands, pull loose. Now I've got it in my left hand, and I'm going to just poke my thumb underneath the windpipe and the esophagus. Okay, and I'm going to pull out the windpipe and the esophagus. So here's the windpipe. There's the windpipe. It feels like a vacuum cord, and there's the esophagus, and it goes to the crop. All right. I'm not going to cut that off. I'm going to let that sit. All right. I'm not doing anything with that. Okay. I'm just going to let that sit. The whole idea here of this procedure is that you don't break any digestive juices into the carcass. All right. So now I'm going to pull up real tight on the vent area here. Well, let's go ahead and pick those so they don't sit too long. Great. Jim, I'm going to let you give a shameless plug. What does what we're seeing here cost?
The equipment would probably be about $5,000 to $6,000.
So,
Central tractor,
yeah. So all the equipment that you see here, $5,000 or $6,000. Okay.
so much cheaper, but this is all American-made stainless steel. So.
No, this is heavy quality stuff. Yeah. And again, this with this setup here, a crew of 3 people could certainly run 60 birds an hour. 60 birds an hour in 3 hours, a little 3.5. Let's just make it 200 birds in a morning. Okay, 200 birds in the morning at an average cost of, let's just say, $15 a bird, $3,000. You do that once a week for 20 weeks. That's $60,000 for a one-time capital investment of $5,000 or $6,000. You show me any other piece of farm equipment that will give you that kind of payback in one season, and I want to talk to you because I want to invest there. I don't know any other equipment except maybe a bandsaw mill. That might come. I mean, if you really use it. But anyway, but that's our assumption here too. All right. So now I'm going to pull up. We'll pull up on this. Is there a question?
If you were to rent that out, then you would essentially get it rented out.
We rent
The
it.
rental unit, we rent it for $100 a weekend. You should have one of these in every county across the United States.
Absolutely. Shut down the factory farming system. There's not a single reason for it, any of it, ever. All right. So here we go. We're going to pull up on the abdominal cavity here. The reason is because I want to tighten this up because I don't want to lose any skin. Everything below my cut to the vent, I'm going to lose. So if I cut that abdomen way up here being sloppy, I've just lost some more weight. Okay? So that's why I want to pinch it up and cut it as close to the vent as possible. I'm going to tear it open. Okay? Then I'm going to go in and pull the fat off of the gizzard, because I want that fat. Look at all that fat. That's half an ounce. It's 10 cents. Okay? I mean, I'm making it because listen, the secret's in the details, right? It really is. And not only that, but fat's where it's at. Fat's where the taste is. Your customer, when they cook this chicken, that fat's going to be what makes the gravy and the taste and all that. All right. So I'm going to get that fat off, leave that with the carcass, and I'm going to go in with my fingernails against the smooth keel bone. Okay, and I'm gonna hook the esophagus around my pointer finger. Okay, so here comes the esophagus, here comes the crop. Okay, it's all coming out the back of the bird. No breaks, no digestive juices. There's the windpipe. It's all there. Okay, all right here. All right. Now I'm going to roll it over. So here's my heart, my liver. Look at that beautiful liver. That is a gorgeous liver. And right here is the thing you don't want. That's the gallbladder. When they say bitter as gall, it's bitter. Let me tell you. I've tasted it. All right.
Oh.
It is not good. Our son Daniel's rule of thumb for this whole procedure here, the processing, is there are 2 rules. One is keep your mouth shut.
True.
And the second one is if you feel something on your lip, don't lick it.
Don't. Yuck.
Those are the 2 rules of processing. So we're going to roll this over and we're just going to pinch that gallbladder off. Okay? There's your heart and liver. Is this where we're putting everything in this barrel down here with cold water? Okay. So everybody, I mean, that's a beautiful liver. I hope everybody can appreciate and see that. That's just a gorgeous, gorgeous liver. Okay? Good color, everything. Okay? All right. And now that leaves the viscera in my left hand. And I just give it a very gentle tug. And I've got 3 cuts now left. I'm going to cut down, I'm going to pull my intestinal tract to the left, cut right down along the vent on this side. Now I'm going to move it over here, cut right down along, the left side, right and then left, and then I'm going to cut underneath it. Okay, that's going to take out the last of the viscera. Again, notice I've left this big glob of fat. This is the pubic fat right here, right on the pubic bones. There again, there's another ½ ounce. If you do a sloppy job of getting the vent and you just carve out that whole thing, you've just lost another ½ ounce of flavor and fat, okay? All right. Now what's left? Lungs. All right. So we'll go back in, and the lungs are down in the rib cage. There's one. There's the other one. And the ribs are perpendicular to me, okay? So I'm not going in clawing this way, I'm going this way. Now, Jim sells a handy dandy little lung puller that you can go in and you can grab them and pull them out with a lung puller. I want to do it with my hand just to show you that it can be done. I'm not trying to reduce sales, Jim. I'm just trying to do this as simple and gentle as possible and empowering as possible, okay? So there's the 2 lungs, all right? Now we'll why this thing just wanted to, there. And we're going to spray this booger out inside a little bit, clean him off a little bit. Okay. All right. Now, because we've cut so low, we've got all this beautiful skin here in the back. We're going to cut a little tiny incision right here that we can then poke the legs in. Okay. And we have an oven ready bird. Okay? Thank you.